Alright, welcome back to another video. Today's video I'm going to be talking about a very serious issue that could cause a failure of your transmission on any of your modern Ford vehicles that have a 4R70W or 4R75E transmission. Alright, so I recently picked up this 2008 Crown Victoria Police Interceptor street appearance package model car. Overall, it's in very good condition, especially considering the mileage, 160,000 miles, but only 1,000 idle hours. So all highway miles, did very little sitting like most police cars do, so that's a good thing. When I took it for a test drive, everything seemed good. There was a few little issues that I had to correct, not a big deal. On my trip home, it was a pretty long drive. It was about a 200-mile drive. I noticed when I was getting off the interstate to almost home that I heard the engine fan running on high, and I thought that was odd because it's very rare the engine fan runs on high, and I didn't have the AC on or anything, and I was just getting off the highway. So the temperature gauge seemed fine, everything seemed fine with the car. So I went ahead and hooked up my scan tool, had my little Bluetooth OBD2 reader in my pocket. I plugged it in and it said my coolant temperature was 182 degrees. So there was no reason for the fan to be on. So I was immediately suspicious of something wrong. Most people probably wouldn't even have thought anything about that. You know, buying a new vehicle, hearing the fan running, you wouldn't have thought anything about that. But to me, I just knew that wasn't right because of my experience working on these cars. So I did a little bit of research, and I found out that the transmission and the ECU have the ability to turn on the fan when the transmission is overheating because it's supposed to help pull air across the transmission cooler. So it's kind of like a fail-safe. I had no check engine lights, no transmission codes, nothing. But I had a feeling the transmission was overheating. So fast forward to the next day, I was coming home. I just went for a little drive in the car just to see if it would happen again. As I was coming up my driveway, which is a hill, it felt like the transmission started to go into neutral. I just started a free rev, so I immediately stopped, put it in neutral, waited a few seconds, put it back in drive. It came up the driveway fine. So now I was really worried that there was something major wrong. So I hooked up my scan tool, my more advanced scan tool, and then used ForeScan and saw that my transmission fluid temperatures were pretty high. If I went for a normal drive, they would shoot right up to about 175 degrees and then go between 175 and 200 degrees, which is pretty hot if you're really not, beating on the car at all. If I beat on the transmission, it would go right up to 230 degrees, which major fluid deterioration will happen very quick at those temperatures. So I immediately assumed I had a torque converter problem or a front pump problem, something inside was slipping. Slippage causes heating. I went ahead and flushed the transmission fluid and put new fluid in it, and then took it back off our drive. Well, all the slipping went away completely, and it seemed to fix my problem, but my transmission fluid temperature again went through the roof. So I still thought, man, I'm gonna have to replace this transmission. Then I thought I would just try one more thing. So obviously, the obvious thing you should check anytime you have an overheating issue is your transmission cooler. So on a lot of the older Fords, the transmission cooler was built into the radiator. So it actually would heat the transmission fluid up to radiator coolant temperature, but it would also keep it that cool. So it really never got above like 190 to 200 degrees, which is still kind of warm, for a modern transmission. So what Ford did is they in the middle of the 2000 region, they switched to an external transmission cooler on these cars and moved it outside of the radiator. Well, the problem is they added a thermostat into the transmission cooler. So I'll show you basically what the factory setup entails. In this case, this is an 08. So here's your radiator. This right here is your AC condenser, but in the bottom of that is the transmission cooler. So the top half of this is for the AC, the bottom half is for the transmission cooler. And your transmission lines come from the transmission. There's a to and a return line, that come up under the car, and they run some hard lines and then down into the side of the transmission here. So I went ahead and removed those cooler lines from the transmission, started the car. I wanted to check for flow of fluid. So I did have transmission fluid coming out of the line at the normal rate, a nice steady stream of fluid. So I hooked it back up, and my return line had no fluid going through it at all. So I suspected some kind of blockage in my transmission cooler. So I reversed the lines. I had some flow. So basically, long story short, inside of the transmission cooler, there is a thermostat, and it's set to open at 180 degrees. And when it is not, when the thermostat is not open, it's in what's called a bypass. So the fluid comes from the transmission and then goes right back without going through the cooler until it reaches a certain temperature. The reason to do that is because in extreme cold climates, your transmission never really heats up. But the problem is, I've never heard of someone killing their transmission by it being too cool. But it's very easy to destroy your transmission by it being too hot, even one time. So, obviously I had a problem with my thermostat. I don't know if there's also a one-way valve. I haven't done quite enough research to understand exactly how it's made up. But I made the decision that I was going to completely bypass the factory transmission cooler, do away with the thermostat, and I installed this aftermarket transmission cooler on the front of the radiator. Alright, so here we are under the car. So basically all I did is I took the hard lines where they went in to the factory cooler, which is going to be hard to see, and I cut them off with a Dremel. And then I hooked these new hoses right here. And then I mounted the transmission cooler to the front of the condenser right here. So the point of this video isn't so much of a how-to video, because it's not really hard to fit an aftermarket transmission cooler, and they're all going to be different depending on what brand you get. I got one that was rated for a large SUV or truck for a tow application, since this is a V8. But my point is, when I went out and Datalog after doing this, I had just had my fingers crossed. And the highest transmission temperature I saw was 148 degrees, and that was beating on it. So I fixed the problem. I went ahead and changed about half of the fluid again, and I put in a bottle of Lucas transmission fix to try to restore the rest of the fluid that I couldn't get out, try to get it back to good condition until I can go have a proper flush done with Mercon 5 and get it all out. So I put about 5 quarts of Mercon 5. That's what I was able to pump out, plus the bottle of Lucas, and we are in good shape. All right, so my point is, I caught it in time, hopefully, that I saved the transmission. This is something I didn't know that could happen on a transmission cooler on a late model Ford like this. So kind of opened my eyes. I've dealt with a lot of different situations with these vehicles, and I've never seen this before. So that's why I made this video. So if you're having symptoms of your transmission starting to slip all of a sudden, stop driving it. Don't drive it. Stop before you kill the transmission. Diagnose the problem. Work through it. Figure it out. And it might just save you thousands of dollars in replacing a transmission. Maybe you need an advanced scan tool to, be able to look at your transmission fluid temp like I did. I'll leave a couple links in the description below with my setup. Really cheap, inexpensive setup using a free program. You just have to have a computer with a minimum of Windows XP and then an ELM 327 adapter. Works on all the late model Fords. It lets you monitor a lot of things that you wouldn't be able to with a regular code reader. So that's one of those things. So there'll be that in the description. Sure to like the video, subscribe for more. Until next time, we'll see you later.